Good morning again, everyone. This is Anne-Marie Molinari Sanders with Train PD at TCall. I'm a professional development specialist, and I'm very excited to share this Tech Intel today. This will be about the labor market and career information resources, and our guest presenter today, presenting for the first time for Train PD, Texas A&M and TCall, is Major Jones with the Texas Workforce Commission. And I would like at this time to ask Major to turn on his video camera to say hi. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Major Jones, who is a
How y'all doing?
education outreach specialist with the Texas Workforce Commission. Major Jones has worked for the agency for 2 years now. Prior to his role, he worked in secondary education as an educator and family advocate for many years. He is passionate about helping students align their interests, talents, and education to potential career opportunities. And Major and I hope that maybe we can do some collaboration again in the future, because we found out, right, we share a real passion for helping at-risk youth. So it's been awesome working with Major. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to let him take over. Go ahead, Major.
All right. I'm going to try to figure out how to stop my video so I don't crash everybody. How is everybody doing today? I hope you are having a beautiful Friday morning. And I hope wherever you are, it is as beautiful there as it is here in beautiful Austin, Texas. And so what I plan to do today is just kind of give y'all a little information about the resources that we have at Texas Workforce Commission as it applies to career exploration. So kind of what I want to be able to talk about with you today is I want to give you an overview of some of the tools that we have. When you go to Texas to our site, it's lmci.state.tx.us. You can really just Google the LMCI part, and it's normally the first or second option, which stands for Labor Market Career Information. When you go to the site, what you're seeing on the left side, that's at the top of the page. And if you scroll down, the picture you see on the right is actually the resources. And if I can real quick, let me give y'all a quick look at what that looks like. And so if everybody can see there we go. If everybody can see it, this is what the resource page looks like. And it is full of resources that are helpful. First one I want to kind of bring up is our Texas labor analysis. And this is a really good tool here. What this can be used for is for a couple of things that I use when I go out and I speak. First one is I use the top statistics. This is going to give you the top 25 occupations as far as projections. You can either do it statewide or you can do it regionally. The other one is our regional occupation profile. And with this is once you identify an occupation, it's actually going to give you what you'll see is several charts, and you can see the wages, beginner level, the medium, the experience. Is going to show you the employment projections. And at the bottom, it's going to give you a graph for the last 13 months of the most. It comes from our help wanted section of the occupations, that particular occupation, as it has job listings. Every time you look at a particular occupation on our site, what it's going to give you is the mean average for the state of Texas. Our Texas wages is a really good tool to actually see the other wages that go with it. The first thing I want to point out here is you can get projections for your region. Now, this is going to give you projections based on, regardless of the educational attainment, and you can identify that once you pick a region, you can click on one of those occupations, and it's going to give you that occupation as it compares to the other 28 regions in the state of Texas. Once you've identified an occupation, again, we're going to have the mean salary. You can look in there and you can find the entry level, the experience level, or the medium level, so that whoever's looking at this particular occupation can see where they can start, where they'll be going, and where they can eventually get to as far as their salaries are. And I do understand for a lot of people, What you make is extremely important. We have another tool that we actually will go into more detail with on October 30th. So if you have not registered for that webinar, it's open right now to register. But this is Texas Autocoder, and it is a really good tool. In that job description area, you can put a full resume. And what it's going to do is align the occupations based on what you have in your resume. And it has a scoring system. And if you notice that they're on the top when they're 2 stars, the more stars you have, the more closely you're aligned to that occupation. That way it gives you the opportunity to go back into your resume, work on it a little bit so that you can up your star rating. And the goal is to actually get a score in between 75 and 100. The other tool that we'll talk about on the 30th, and I do want to remind you, if you have not yet registered for it, that registration is available. It's going to be Skills to Work. It is another good tool for helping with your resume. It is meant for our military members when they come back out of their service to put their resume in, kind of get the resume language that they'll use for their resume, for their job applications. But this tool is really good for when you're working with young people who have minimal work experience, but they have a lot of life experience. They can take that life experience and turn it into the language that they can put on their resume, because as we know, when an employer is talking with them and when they're reviewing them, those soft skills become very important, and they can get credit for what they are doing and have it reflected on their resume, on their application, and when they sit across from someone in an interview. And please, I hope I'm not talking too fast. If I am, let me know so that I can slow down. This virtual is a little different than when I talk in front of people, and I want to make sure I give you everything that you're needing to get. Are there any questions about the resources?
I'm looking in the chat pod and I don't see if there, Major and I talked before the webinar, everybody, if there's a website, if there's a part, if there's a tool that you would like to see on the live site, he just previewed 3, let us know and he'll go and he'll show the site. So I'm wondering if we want to maybe go back to the one, go back a few slides there, Major, I'll show you, go back a few slides, maybe this one. Let's spend a little time on labor, texaslabor.com for a minute.
All right, so let me pull that one up for everybody. So our Texas labor analysis is a really good tool to get projections. And if you want to get the top projections for a particular region, the top statistics is the section you'll use. And what you do is you get to use a region. You can either know your region or use the map. I like the map. Let's pull up Gulf Coast. Just talked to my mother this morning, and that's where she lives. And so now you get to pick the report that you'd like to get. What we normally go out is we do the projections. And always make sure that when you're looking at this, that you're looking at occupations that make above 37,000, which is a Texas medium. And if you click that box, it will only show those. Now, right now, what you're seeing is a list of occupations based on all educational levels. And what you get to do is identify which level you'd like. And so a lot of times I'll start off with the associates and I'll show those occupations that are there. You can either convert it to an Excel, you can turn it into a PDF form, which is going to create a nice document. Do I want to open it? Yes, I do. And give you a little look at what it looks like. Put it on another page. So let's go back out. What that's good is a regional profile. And again, we'll pick a region on the map. Let's go with Austin. And now you get to identify which occupation that you want to get information on. Let's see, advertising. And then as you scroll down, you'll get to see the charts that come out. And so in the capital area, you can get your beginner, your medium, or your advanced, or your experienced wages. You'll get the projections for this particular occupation. And then what I like here is it gives a really good description of, as this job has had postings in our area. And as you can see, we were doing good in October of 2019, and then it steadily come down, but it looks like we might have a good little uptick coming. The other one was our Texas wages that I showed. And just real quick, you want to get your employment projections so that somebody's looking at a particular occupation. This is going to tell you for all of Texas, you can pick a region, and do borderplex, and then this is what you have. You just scroll down until you find the occupation that you want. Once you get it, click on it, and then you can see that for all 28 regions.
Thank you so much, Major. So I want to stop. How are we doing, everybody? Are we okay to go forward? Go ahead and click yes or no using your reaction buttons. Are we doing okay? Okay, yes, good. Looks like we've got all yeses so far. All right. Just kind of keep a running check in your mind if there's something you may want to see at the end, and Major will go back. Okay. All right, Major. Let's keep going here.
All right. Did I happen to mention that we have another webinar on October 30th? It is open for you to register. We will do a dive into skills for work and autocoder, and we'll also have some participation for another tool that I'll bring up later in our webinar here. All right. A lot of times you may want to know which jobs have the most postings in a particular area, and what I like about our Help Wanted, you can identify those occupations based on your county. Most of our projections are regional, but if you want to know the most occupations that are being requested right now, and you can pick your county, the Help Wanted is a really good tool to look those up. Our Jobs Y'all is a really good tool that the governor's office has indicated that there are 8 industries that are in high demand here in the state of Texas. And you can go to Jobs Y'all and you can click on these on these industries, and it will take you to the site so that you get a wealth of information about what they entail. And Anne-Marie, you had mentioned earlier that there was some alignment that y'all had with this. Did you speak on that?
Thank you so much, Major. Now, let me ask you guys in the chat pod to help me out here. What do you notice about these topics? And the word demand industry should hopefully ring a bell. And what do you notice about these industries? Where have you seen some of these before in a document we use in adult education? Where have you seen those? So yes, Yoliette, in IET, but what else? Bingo, here it comes. Lorraine, thank you. Yoliette, standards, Joseph, much appreciated. And this is wonderful to know, don't you think? Because you see construction, you see transportation, you see, but they're kind of categorized a little bit broader, which is good too, because you can tell your students, look at healthcare, look at the biotechnology and science jobs available, the manufacturing. So we wanted to point that out to you because I loved seeing this. And remember, TWC, that's why they chose the industries they did. So I just wanted to point that out for y'all. So thank you, Major.
You're welcome. Thank you. Our next tool is our most popular one, which is our Texas Career Check. And what's really good about this is there are 1,100, a little more than 1,100 occupations that are attached with it that a individual can explore. They can get a wealth of information about that occupation, the description, the educational attainment, if certifications are required for that occupation, it will tell them the task of that occupation. They can find the soft skills and the percentage that they're used for that occupation. There's always a video that goes along. So if someone wants to kind of get a better idea of what that occupation does, it's a really good tool that will allow them to get a good start of information for whatever occupation that they're looking at. It's also a good tool for exploring colleges. There's a section there for that as well. We have a what we call an interest profile on here. It is a career assessment, 60 questions. I've not seen, and I do this when I go out and I talk with students, I've not seen anybody take more than 6 minutes to complete it. And it literally gives you 50 plus occupations to explore. So it's a really good one. Our next tool is Texas Work Prep. And this is really kind of good for people who are just trying to go into the job market. There is a job hunters guide to it that will walk them through some information. There's a skills assessment that's attached to it so that they can identify the skills that they have. And it makes it really good because they can talk to an employer about, this is what I can provide and offer to your organization. Other part of it is the Succeed at Work. This kind of gives them an idea of what it's going to take to be successful. One of the things we have been finding out is that our young people sometimes are not always prepared for what it takes to be a good employee. And so they can get some insight during this particular course. Any questions or takeaways from those two items?
I will let you know. I just reminded everyone in the chat pod, Major, that all of these tools that you're talking about are on the main page of the LMCI website. So you just have to click on the title and it will take you. I've been putting in the actual website addresses, but just remember they're all there. So I think we can keep going.
All right. Did you want to see a live view of Career Check?
Why don't we go ahead? How about, let's see, everybody, yes, I think so. I think that would be good. Okay. Yep. Lorraine says, yes, please. Okay.
So one thing to point out with this, there are two ways to access the information. You can do our drop-down menu or here on the Blue Explorer. And if you're doing it on a mobile device, this is what they're going to see. This is what it'll look like. But what we have here is the 1,100 occupations in alphabetical order. There's also an advanced search on it that's really good. So if somebody wanted to just decide, I'm really into green occupations. You know, I want to save the earth. I just want to look at occupations based on that. And then it'll show those occupations. And anytime somebody wants to get more information, when it's highlighted in blue, they click on it. And here's our occupation summary page. Here you're going to get the state mean wage. You're going to get a description of that occupation. If you want more details, there's the job tags. But here's something that's really good. I picked automotive engineering technicians. If I want to find out the projection for that particular occupation, I go to the Texas Regional Employment Information tab, and then I scroll down and I find my region. They're based on 28 regions here in Texas. So let's pick Dallas, and here they can see what's projected going out to 2026. This will be updated this year to go out to 2028 projections. And they can see the annual growth for that particular occupation. And if they're thinking about, well, does this occupation need certifications? They'll click there. For this particular one, it does not.
So, Major, can we go back and start from the beginning and show that again? Because I think that is really important for teachers and career navigators to see how we can share with students. Don't y'all think? Because, so we'll just walk through that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. If they do not know the occupation, they're here in alphabetical order, 1,110 of them. And again, so we pick one, let's pick air crew members, and we're at our occupation summary page. In this page, again, you're going to get your descriptions. If they want to know the projections for that particular one, again, Texas Regional Employment Information is the section on here. They can get that information. If they want to know the outlook, they can find it here. And obviously, air crew members might not be a good occupation to be pursuing because they're not showing us any good information on it. But it has a wealth. They can print this out and save it to a PDF. Another section I'd like to point out, here's our interest profiler. Again, if they want to take the assessment, 60 questions, when they get to the end, they're going to see a profile with their scores. And if they record the scores, they can always come back, enter those scores in there. It's going to repopulate the occupations that were there when they first did the assessment. And then they can take their time to explore. Click on it, again, takes you to the occupation summary page. The one that I wanted to point out is if they were thinking about a couple of occupations, they can compare them side by side. They pick that comparison to maybe two occupations that they've been thinking about. All right. Are there any questions or something that somebody else would like to see from this tool?
Yes, actually, perfect timing, Major. We do have a question from Lorraine. It's a
Yes,
really
ma'am.
good one. She
Uh-huh.
says, do other states have these tools available as well through their workforce organization?
I
Do
have
we
seen
know?
similar.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I have seen similar in California, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Florida. And I imagine if those states have it, the other states have something very similar as well.
Mhm. And can you speak to, now some of you may have seen this, but Major, can you speak to the alignment to ONET? Because what you were just on, the skills needed. So there is alignment there, right? They do
Yes,
talk
ma'am.
to each other. Mhm.
Well, we borrow heavily, it feels like. So what you'll see on every occupation that you pick, there will be the ONET SOC code. And so you can actually take this and go onto the ONET site and put it in if you wanted, because their page looks a little different than ours. Everything's kind of concise on one page, and they can take the same information there. When they do the interest profiler, the results page, you can take those same result numbers and put it into their career assessment, and it will populate the occupations there as well.
Thank you. And then Ivy
Mm-hmm.
said, this is so great. I agree, Ivy. I really agree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't see any other questions, but keep asking, guys. And go ahead,
All right.
Major. I'm sorry.
Oh, real quick, I have always been so surprised at how much fun the Papa job is and how much people do enjoy playing it. And what it'll do is just introduce whoever's on it to career titles. So if you have somebody that's just kind of not real sure, have them play the game and see if something comes up that strikes their interest.
How do you get to the Papa Job game again? Where is that
It
again?
is it's in our career check. It is the very last option.
Okay.
The last option. Mm-hmm. And it is extremely fun. It's even fun to play in a group of people.
Oh, how fun. You guys, you could do that at the end of a webinar, everybody. And Ivy just says, using NoNet as much as I do, it's great to see how this aligns and brings it together so well. So true, Ivy. Okay. Yep, and she has a very good point. She says, ONET seems to be very daunting to the students. I agree, Ivy, and they get lost, right? And it's good to take them back to a Texas resource, I think, as well. Okay, I think we can keep going.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so Texas Reality Check is a really good tool to allow a younger person who may not know what it actually costs to be an adult to get a really good broad picture of expenses. And I always tell people when I go out, even when I had graduated college, I didn't know my father had to pay for water. And so as I got into my adult world, that was one of the shocking things, that I had to pay for water, I had to pay for trash. And so it kind of gives them an insight on it. And so in this tool, there are 3 ways that you can do the reality check. The most common way that I've seen it used is with the life skill calculator. It's 12 questions. You answer the questions. I've seen the occupation calculator, which I'm starting to use more because I'm finding it to be a lot more entertaining. And then we have the quick view. And I'll kind of go through all of them as I go through this. And if you have questions, please put them in and ask, and I can answer it as it pops up there so that I can make sure we are clear, or that I give you as clear picture as to what to do with this tool. First one is the life skill calculator. And again, of questions, it's going to have a running expense on the upper right-hand corner of what you are, the expenses that you're picking. If you want to know more about what's going on, you can also click the Learn More section. Once you are through answering the 12 questions, it's going to give you your total expenses. You do have the option to print that out or email it to yourself. Once you identify what you are saying that your expenses are, and so when I did this for Bryan College Station, I'm an older person, I got a lot of needs and wants, it was $95,000. Right there where you see the green bar, you can actually click on that and see the occupations that'll pay for that career. I mean, that'll pay for that lifestyle. And what you'll have is a list of the careers that someone can explore. If they click on a career, it's going to take them to this profile page. And they can get a little information. And if they want more information on it, they click the Texas Career Check, and it's going to take them to our occupation summary page. And again, as we talked on the previous slide with the occupation summary page, they can get a lot of information. They can save that as a PD. They can print it out so that they can have this information to look at later, or if they're like me, I'd rather have paper than the computer. Now, the occupation calculator, what I find fun about this is you pick wherever location you want to live. It shows you a list of occupations for that location. So if I picked Austin, it showed me all these occupations in the city. I pick an occupation, and then it's going to calculate the taxes for me and tell me what I'm left with. Then I can answer the 12 questions, and it'll subtract my expenses as I go. And at the end of it, if I live within my expenses, it'll congratulate me. But if I was over, it'll tell me that I can go back and change some things or look for another occupation that'll pay for that lifestyle. So again, it's a really good, fun way for someone to, in a real clear way too, to get a sense of what you have to pay out versus what you have. And then the last part of it is our quick view calculator. With this one, I know that there are people that I just want to answer the questions. And it's going to be a one-pager with all the questions. They're going to check the answers or the responses that apply to them, and then it will give them their total expenses and a link to occupations that'll pay for it. And so there are just 3 ways that you could use this tool, and pretty much based on the individual and how it fits them. Any questions about Texas Reality Check?
Let me see, and
Okay.
let's just do a quick interactive question here. How many of you right now are registered for Part 2? How many of you are registered? Okay, so, but Ivy's going to register though, aren't you, Ivy? Hopefully. All right, so we do need 12 volunteers on October 30th to help us with the Texas Reality Check, because we are going to need 12 volunteers to help answer the questions. So think about, so Ivy's in. Ivy, I'm going to hold you to it. Yoliette.
Thank you.
Come on, Yoliette for the far west. So she'll help us out. So I'll kind of keep a running check in my head. So when we start on the 30th, we'll just make sure we have our 12 volunteers, and you'll unmute and help answer the questions. Okay. All right. So, all right. I think we can keep going, but we've got a lot of volunteers. So thank you.
Oh,
right.
Thank you.
Ashley's going to help. Ivy's going to help. Yoliette's going to help. Romina, think about it, please. And okay, let's keep going. We're at 12:07.
12:07. Okay. I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with our career information hotline number. It's 1-800-822-PLAN. But this allows an individual to call, and they can request information on careers that they have an interest in, and we will send that information to them. They can call as many times as they want. They can call and ask for up to 3 careers. If they happen to be interested in some colleges and universities, they can ask for that as well, and we will send that information out. I know pre-COVID, we had about a 5 to 7 day turnaround on people receiving their information. I'm hoping that it's similar, because the gentleman that does this still goes into the office. And Emery, after we had kind of scaled down, I'm pretty much at the end. So I can actually go back and show whatever anybody would like to see, answers any questions that they may have.
Okay.
And remind people of this webinar on the 30th.
So let's go ahead and ask you, because we went through the beginning rather quickly. So what would you guys like? What skills? Let's talk about the college hotline for a minute. Let's go back to the college hotline, because I do have a question. I did get a question that came in to me privately, and that is, what is this going to do? What do they do? I mean, I know that sounds like a silly question, but not really. What information?
What did the person? I guess the best way to answer it is, if you were interested in the career of welding and you wanted to know, more things about it, you'd call that number. There's typically during the day, there's a live person that answers. When there's not, there's an automated. It will ask you a series of questions that you answer, and then from that, they will send you the information that you're requesting. I hope that answered it.
It did.
Okay.
Okay, will not be calling a number. Okay, Teresa says, most students today will not be calling a number.
So the post high school people, we get a lot of people, surprisingly, who do call. It is high volume.
All right, I'm wondering if, let's go back to the beginning of the PowerPoint and look at, let's see here. Let's go to that slide 4, go back up to slide 4 and see, okay, so let's go into presenter mode. What is there on here that you would like to see, everybody? One thing that you may want to look at. We've got Texas labor analysis, Texas wages, Texas auto coder, or
one thing that I would like to point out, on the left-hand side where it says products and publications, our written publications, we have them there in a PDF form. So if someone was interested in either, they can read the publication there or they can download it. They would be able to go there and find all of our publications.
Okay, so Major, Major, what I think what I think we need to do is the self-assessment or the interest assessment, and also the auto-coder. If we can go back and talk about those.
So the first one you brought up was the self-assessment? Or did
Yep.
you want to do the auto-coder? Okay.
Let's go ahead, because there are two great questions. Yes, two people want to see, one person wants to see the self-assessment. And we did, I think the main goal is to just kind of slow down and go through some of these again. So let's look at the interest profiler. Let's start to where it is. It's Texas Career Check. So let's go back to that and then show the autocoder. So let's start on this is the main page of the Texas Career Check, right?
Yeah. So if you go to Texas Career Check, the interest profile is the next to the last option. And what you're going to have is 60 questions. And it is the same 60 questions that you find when you do the assessment on ONET. And what an individual will do is just go through, easily answer the questions. And when they get to the end of answering it, they will end up in they'll get to see their scores.
How long does it take to do the interest profiler? How long does that take for students? If teachers want to do this in class or want to break the students up, how long does that take?
I've never seen it take more than 6 minutes.
Okay, so this is a really good one.
And that's been in a class with 30 students, and them talking about what they're answering. So it goes really quick. Yeah, okay. If anything that took the longer part of it was allowing students the time to actually go through and identify something that they had an interest in.
And this is interesting. So Kay, it takes about 6 minutes, I think, right? Shirley says she uses this already and it takes 5 to 10 minutes. So Deanne, did that cover this question for you? It's very rare on a Tech and Tell that we do have this open time, so this is really good. So we very rarely have a lot of time where we can go back and really answer questions. And let's see here. Let's look at the autocoder. Teresa, thank you for bringing that up. The autocoder is I think, very useful. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that now.
So
how did you get there again? I'm sorry, Major. Go back. Show us where you were. You got to remember some people are not real familiar with this website. So where did you go? It's right there. Okay.
Okay. So it's on the left-hand side. It's our fourth option. And I clicked on Texas Auto Code, and what you'll see is it'll look like this. In the job description, it's good for you to put your resume, but you can also put things that you have an interest in. So like I put helping people, and you always have to click the search. And what it does is if you have somebody that's not sure of the way I use it with students, what they have an interest in or what they're interested in as a career, have them put an interest or have them put something that they like doing in there so they can make the association that there are actually occupations that fit who they are. And then what it does, it gives a list. Always click at the bottom where it says view all match results so that you get all of the matches. And then a person can go through and click. What's important about doing AutoCoder through us is that what you get is from the OCC profiles all the way out to the daily HWOL is reflective when you do AutoCoder through our site. If you just Google AutoCoder, it would only give you the code, the title, and the score. And what's good about this is if somebody saw an occupation that they like, they click the view under the OCC profiles, and what it'll do is it'll take them to our occupation summary page. The other thing that's good is where it says Texas openings. If they click that, it takes them to the Work in Texas page. And so if there are particular openings for an occupation, it'll show up and reflective in that. And obviously for this one, there are no jobs being posted.
Let's do this because we're at 12:17, so we have time. In the chat pod, I'd like for you guys to either choose a job title or a job description. I need a couple of volunteers, and we'll plug them in, see what we get, and see then what's open in Texas. Oh boy, I got a lot of takers here. Okay, here we go. So residential appraiser, mathematics major, solar representative. Oh my goodness. Let's do, I'm interested about residential appraiser. That's interesting. Let's do that.
Okay. Now,
thank you all.
Yeah, I want that in the job title or the job description. Because what I would tell you is when you put anything in the job title, it's going to try to match it exactly. The job description will kind of get you things that are associated with it.
Let's do job description then. What do you think? Here come messages. Commercial real estate agent, a lot of real estate. Yeah, let's do job description. So that's a good tool. That's a good trick to remember, everybody. Do job description so you get it broad. So let's do job. Put that in the job description.
All right. And then hit search. And was there a particular one that the audience would like to see clicked on? Now, one thing about when you do AutoCoder, if you happen to click on the actual occupation itself, it gives you a small job description and then the lay titles for it. If you want to see a broader, or what we have, again, the view from the OCC profiles to take you to the occupation summary page. Was there another occupation, or were they good with this?
Well, let's, there's a question in the chat pod. So Joseph, I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question. You said, why so finite? I'm not sure. Can you please clarify? I'm not sure.
Is he asking about like as far as the title names?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Joseph, if you can clarify, why does the job title have to be so specific? Oh yes, he said, I think I heard you have to have an exact job title. Can you expand on that, Major? Why do they need an exact job title?
Now, that I'm not sure is like, why do you need one? And what I do know from the system is that whatever you put there will be looking for those exact words. If that answers.
So good question. He says, any tips and tricks, any recommendations for what to put in there, Joseph, you mean? To what to put in the job title to make sure you get what you need? Okay, so.
And I don't often, unless somebody has a specific title in hand and only wants that information, I necessarily wouldn't go here for that. I would just go to the Texas Reality Chat. I mean, not Texas, but Texas Career Chat to get the information right there. this is kind of used to link career opportunities with the resume that you put into the system. Another good thing about the autocoder tool is you can have a mix of English and Spanish in what you put into the description. And their algorithms will understand it and give you the information that you're looking for.
So that's great. That's wonderful to know. I didn't know that. And Deanne says, so maybe if you were looking for a paralegal position, you would use the job title, but if you just wanted something more general in legal field, you would use the job description. Excellent, right? Excellent point.
Yeah.
Right? Very good. Very good. Well, great comments, everyone. Let's go ahead and look at what Major you just said. Texas Career, not. You just said which tool you would prefer to go to.
Texas Career Check.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing that we're tied to with Texas Career Check is that the occupation you put in has to be one of the 1,100 that's recorded. But you would put it in the search bar up top. And so let's go back and see what happens when we do residential appraiser. It didn't make it with that, but let's go back and let's just put the word appraisal in there. See more results with it. And now you can see some occupations related to the word appraisal.
Now this is gonna, if we click on this is gonna show us where in Texas, right? What area it's going to be, they're gonna be available, correct?
You can find that out. So if you were looking into our occupation summary page, well, this is gonna give you statewide data. If you mean if it has particular growth in your area, is that what we're asking? Or are we asking about particular jobs that are being posted now?
Well, I think, what do you all think? I think if I'm working with students, first we need to know if they're willing to move, and if not, what jobs are available in their area. What do you all think about that? I mean, I just think that's very important. So I think really looking at, Joseph says yes. So let's go back and look at that.
Okay,
What's
so
available in that? Go ahead.
So if you're thinking about occupations that are available now, if you go back to the main page, on the left-hand side, your last option is the monthly help wanted. And now you can pick the county that you're interested in. That's about as narrow as the search that we have. And let's see, I'm in Travis. Let's pick that one. And then you can decide that the time frame that you want to look at. I'm going to pick 2020 from January through August. And now what I can do is generate a listing of the most occupations that are being posted most. Does that help what they're looking for?
What do you guys think? I did not know that this was available. And this is very current, right? This is very current.
Yes.
Okay.
From January through August, this is a listing of the occupations that were most posted for.
Wonderful. So if you click on, let's say, for instance, I'm trying to find our real estate agent, where that would be. Where would that be?
Let me go back to it and see if I can put that just.
Okay.
Let me see if it, because I'd have to see where we can find, because I don't know the broad occupation that it would fit under.
Put Dallas Fort Worth. Teresa wants Dallas Fort Worth.
All right, so
I hope that's what that means, right, Teresa?
So Tarrant County for Fort Worth. And this would be the occupations for that. Oh, let me get rid of Travis. I didn't realize I was still holding on to my love. Let's go to Dallas County. And these would be the occupations for those two counties.
So let's click on, I'm just interested on, let's see here, Look at where wholesale manufacturing scientific products. Let's click on sales rep for that one. Sales rep for that one, yes. I just want them to be able to see the information it gives. So let's click on that.
Okay. It should take me back to the occupation summary page.
Okay. The gremlins are working. It's not going.
But if somebody had the title, then they could just go back and take the title and go into, if they were looking for like occupations, work in Texas is really good to put that in. They go back and just go back to the, what were we looking at? Sales rep, there's wholesalers. And on our occupation summary page, if they needed to get some specific information, I believe we reference back from here, like to the work in Texas or to the help wanted online, but you do get your information about that particular occupation.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm starting to see is that all of these tools talk to one another. So you may be in one spot, but you can take that information and plug it into a different area and use it that way too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Same way if
Right.
no, I was saying the same way that you would have to take that same occupation if you wanted to know, because a lot of young people are interested in the beginning salary, even though what we reflect is the mean, and put that into the Texas wages so that you can get that information about that specific occupation.
Right. Well, we are at 12:28. We have 2 minutes left, and I do think it was good to have that time for Q&A. We don't always have that time, so I would like to see if there's any last-minute burning questions as we close out today. So are there any burning questions? And as I'm waiting for questions to come in, Major, go ahead and talk about, go back to that slide. Kind of go over, we're going to talk about these next week in greater detail again.
Yes, so we'll start off with the Texas reality check. That's why we are asking for the volunteers, and everybody will get a question that they can answer, and we'll get to see our lifestyle, how much it's going to cost, and we'll look at the occupations. We'll do a little deeper dive with the autocoder, use a resume for it, do a good conversation about the skills to work and how you can use that tool. And don't forget to register.
Yep, great. And I did have a question, 1 minute left. I do have a question from Teresa who asks, what about for students that don't have a lot of experience in anything? Where would they go, right? Teresa, is what you're asking. What tool would you use, I think, is what you're asking. That's what she's asking.
Okay. So when I talk to students and they tell me they don't have any work experience, I take them to here. Oh, I'm losing my internet. I take them to the skills. Can everybody still hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. We can hear you. Mm-hmm.
I have them go into skills for work. And then we talk about what things they're doing in their life. Like you talk to young people and they do volunteer work. They do a lot of help and assistance with family, friends. There are things that they do that reflect character, soft skills, who they are as a person, and they can put that into this Texas skills for work to actually get the language to use to put on a resume. And then from that, they can start identifying maybe occupations that fit the skills that they have, their strengths. And what happens is when you open that door, people realize, oh, you know what, I qualify for some things because now I know what I'm connected to. And I often tell the story, I had a young man 2 weeks from graduation, had no plans. And we're just talking. He was an artist and he liked to draw. He was a sneakerhead, so he collected sneakers. And I asked him, had he ever thought about being a shoe designer to design sneakers? And he honestly was like, there is a job that lets you do that? And I was like, yeah. And he left saying he was on his way to the counselor's office to get more information and to talk about a career in that. And so sometimes something so simple will spark something.
Well, I want to say we are at 12:31. I appreciate all of you that have held on this whole time, and I hope that you will join us on October 30th on Friday. And Major, I want to say on behalf of Train PD, thank you so much. As a new
You're welcome.
presenter, this has been wonderful.
Well, thank you.
We can hear your passion and your enthusiasm, and we look forward to having you back. And
I look forward to coming back.
Great comments in the chat pod from everybody. And I think having that extra time for questions was actually really good. And I just would like to see what you guys think about that. Just give me a quick yes if you agree that that time for Q&A was important. Sometimes we just go, we move too fast and we need to slow down and get questions. So, all right.
I love the questions.
Yep, exactly. All right, everybody, as Major said in the beginning, I hope it is as beautiful where you are as it is in Houston. I'm coming to you from Houston, and we have cooler, drier weather. Thank you for that. That's all I can say. And we will see you in a couple weeks, everybody, and Major will be back. Bring your questions. Yes. And we will see you then. And Major, thank you so much.
Enjoy
Take care, everybody. Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.